Rain tapped on the metal roof of the old spaceport like small fingers trying to get inside. The sky was dark, and neon lights flickered in broken colors. It was late evening on Colony Station 9, and most people hurried home before the night. Patrols arrived. Mark Hawley, a tired human man in his early 40s, walked with slow steps. His boots were old, his jacket heavier than his heart, and his face looked like it had forgotten how to smile. Mark used to be an engineer. Now he repaired broken machines for food money. He lived alone. He spoke little. He avoided people. That was his life. A quiet routine of survival. As he crossed the station gates, Mark noticed something strange. A group of humans and aliens stood together in a small circle. They whispered. Some pointed. Others shook their heads. She is back again. Someone should help her. Help her? With what money? I heard she is dangerous. Mark did not want to get involved. But curiosity pushed him. He walked closer and saw her. A small alien child, no more than 8 years old, stood in the middle of the circle. Her skin was a pale silver blue. Her eyes, large and bright like polished glass, looked scared but hopeful. She wore a ragged cloak and no shoes. Her feet were dirty, like she had been walking for days. In her hands were 3 rusty coins, held tightly like they were the most precious objects in the universe. She looked around, searching for something. Or someone. When she saw Mark, her eyes stopped. She stepped forward. Every step made the coins jingle softly. The circle of onlookers moved back, almost afraid of her. Mark felt a strange pull in his chest. Something about her reminded him of someone he used to know, someone he lost long ago. He pushed that memory away like a heavy door. The alien girl stopped in front of him. Her voice was tiny, like she was afraid the words might break. Sir, can these rusty coins buy me a dad? The world froze, rain slowed. Whispers died. Everyone stared. Mark blinked, thinking he heard wrong. A child asking that question, why him? His voice came out rough, unused. What did you say? The girl lifted the coins with both hands, offering them like a treasure. I need a dad. She said, someone told me humans can fix families. Someone said humans can be bought, with coins. I think these are enough. Mark's mouth opened, but no words came. His heart beat faster. The coins looked worthless. The question felt heavy. I don't understand, Mark said. Why me? The girl looked down. Because you looked sad, she answered softly. Sad people know how to be kind. Maybe you understand what it feels like to be alone. Mark looked around. No one stepped forward. No one said anything. They only watched like this was some show for entertainment. Mark knelt slowly, so he could look at her eyes. They were full of fear. And something else. Hope. I am not for sale, Mark whispered. Family is not something you buy. The girl's hands shook. The coins rattled. But I have nothing else, she said. No family. No home. Only these coins. They are precious on my world. Please. I can give them all. I can work. I can learn, please, sir. I am trying to be brave. Mark felt his chest tighten. He saw tears in her eyes, but she did not let them fall. She stood strong, like she believed courage was her only weapon. What is your name? Mark asked. Leary. She said, my name is Leary. Mark nodded slowly. I'm Mark, he replied. And I don't know how to be a dad anymore. A sudden noise broke the moment. Footsteps, heavy boots. The crowd moved aside as colony security officers marched through the rain. Their armor glowed red. That's her. One officer shouted, the alien child. She is wanted for questioning. Leary gasped and stepped back. Without thinking, she ran behind Mark, hiding like a small shadow. Please, she whispered. Don't let them take me. Mark stood there, confused, scared, angry. He didn't know the full story, but he felt something in him shift. Maybe. This was a moment where a person had to choose who they wanted to be. For the first time in years, Mark felt alive. The closest officer pointed at him. "Step aside, citizen," he ordered. "She is not your problem." Mark looked at Leary. Then, at the officers, his voice was quiet, but not weak. "Maybe she is." The coins fell from Leary's hands. The decision fell on Mark's heart. The storm outside grew louder. And so did the storm inside him. The coins lay on the wet floor, half covered in rainwater. They looked small and sad, like broken pieces of a dream. Mark stared at them as the security officers closed in. The whole station felt like it was holding its breath. One officer, the tallest, stepped forward. His helmet mask reflected the neon lights like cold fire. "Citizen," he repeated, voice sharp, "move aside. The alien child is in violation of colony protocol. She is to be taken for questioning, now." Mark did not move. Behind him, Leary shook like a leaf in a storm. Her hands clutched the edge of Mark's jacket, as if it was the only solid thing in her universe. Mark straightened his back. His voice felt rusty, like a machine that had not worked in years. "What has she done?" he asked. "That is not your concern," the officer replied. "She is unregistered, no guardian, no documents. Alien minors must be processed." "Processed," Mark repeated, tasting the word like poison. "She is a child, not cargo." A few people in the crowd nodded, but did not step forward. Fear was a thick fog in the air. The officer raised his hand. "This is your last warning." Mark did not know why he cared. He did not know why his feet refused to move. Maybe it was the look in Leary's eyes. Maybe it was the memory of his daughter's face, bright, laughing, now forever trapped in the past. He did not know. But something inside him had woken up. "No," Mark said. "I won't move." For a second, silence. Then the officer signaled another guard. They advanced. Leary whispered, "Please." "No." Mark acted before thinking. He placed himself fully in front of her. "You're not taking her." The officer hesitated. Maybe it was Mark's tone. Maybe it was the crowd watching. Or maybe it was fate. Before anything could happen, a cold voice floated from behind the security team. "Step down, officers. I'll handle this." A tall figure in a dark coat stepped forward. His eyes were hidden under a wide hat, but his smile was visible, and it was the kind of smile that promised trouble. It was Rogan, a bounty hunter known around the colony. People said he worked for whoever paid the most. Corporations, private science labs, sometimes even criminals masquerading as officials. He was a man with a reputation like a storm, unpredictable and dangerous. "Rogan," one officer muttered. "This is official colony business." "Yes," Rogan replied calmly, "and the girl is also my business. She has information that certain people want. People who pay well." Leary's breath froze. Mark felt her fear like a pulse. Rogan looked at Mark with lazy interest. "Step aside, old man. I'll take her off your hands. You can go back to whatever broken life you had." He said it so easily, like Mark was nothing. Like Leary was property. Something inside Mark snapped. "She's not for sale," Mark said. "Not to anyone." Rogan tilted his head. "Everything is for sale. Especially hope." Mark felt his jaw tighten. His hands curled into fists. The bounty hunter smirked. "Tell you what, since you seem attached, I'll be fair. Sell her to me." Mark's heart pounded. "You disgust me," Rogan shrugged. "I've been called worse." He reached inside his coat. For a moment, Mark thought he would pull out a weapon. But instead, Rogan pulled out a small scanner device. Its screen glowed red. "She has a data signature," Rogan said, pointing the scanner at Leary. "Someone hid something in her. Something valuable." Mark looked at Leary. She looked confused, scared. She had no idea what Rogan meant. "I don't know what he's talking about," she whispered. Mark believed her. Rogan continued, voice smooth like oil. She can't stay here. And you can't protect her. Not alone. People like you break. People like me don't. Mark stepped forward. Then you'll have to go through me. Rogan smiled coldly. I was hoping you'd say that. Suddenly, the spaceport lights flickered. A power surge raced through the station. The neon signs flashed, then shut down, leaving only emergency. Lighting dot in the dim red glow. Rogan's eyes looked like two burning coals. Before security could react, Rogan disappeared into the shadows. A voice echoed from the darkness. This is not over. The officers cursed and ran after him. The crowd began to scatter, afraid of whatever would come next. Lir. I looked up at Mark with trembling eyes. What do we do now? Mark bent down, picked up the rusty coins, and placed them gently. In her hands, we leave, Mark said. Before they come back. Leary swallowed hard. Where? Mark didn't know. But he knew one thing. Someplace safe. He took her hand. It was small, cold, and hopeful. As they walked into the night. Rain washing the station clean. Mark felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. For the first time in years, he did not push it away. Cold wind pushed through the alleys of Colony Station 9 as Mark and Leary walked away from the spaceport. The storm followed them like a shadow. Neon signs flickered above broken doors. Rusty pipes screamed with steam. Somewhere in the distance, alarms wailed, maybe for them, maybe for something worse. Lir. I held Mark's hand tightly. Her fingers were cold, trembling. Mark didn't know where to go. He only knew where not to go. Anywhere near Rogan or the security officers. They moved quietly. Every sound felt dangerous. Every shadow felt like it was watching. Are we criminals now? Leary asked in a small voice. Mark shook his head. We helped someone. That doesn't make us criminals. But they want to take me, she whispered. Mark sighed. Sometimes the people in power don't care about right or wrong. They care about rules. And rules are not always fair. Leary nodded slowly, trying to understand. She looked so small under the neon lights. Mark felt a protective heat rise in his chest, a heat he thought had died years ago. They reached a narrow street that led to a building with a sign. Humanitarian shelter, all species welcome. The words looked hopeful, friendly. But when? Mark pushed the door open. The air inside felt heavy. A woman at the front desk looked up. She had tired eyes and gray hair. Her uniform said shelter officer, but her voice sounded like someone who had seen too much. Do you have registration? She asked. Mark hesitated. For me, yes, he lied. For her, no, the woman frowned. Alien minor, unregistered, we can't take her in. Mark's jaw tightened. Your sign says all species welcome. Yes, the woman replied, sounding trapped between her heart and her job. But rules changed last month. Aliens need a guardian license. If she stays here, we'll be forced to report her. Mark felt the world tilt again. He lowered his voice. Please, just for tonight. The woman's eyes softened. She looked at Leary, at the dirt on her feet, at her shaking hands, at the coins clutched like hope. The woman leaned forward and whispered, there are eyes everywhere. You need to go. Before someone else sees. Mark nodded. He understood. Fear wasn't just around them. It lived here too. He turned away, but Leary stopped. She stepped closer to the woman, reached out her hand, and placed one rusty coin on the desk. For kindness, Leary said. The woman stared at the coin, her lips trembling. She pushed it back gently. You keep that, she whispered. And may it bring you to someone who deserves it more than this place. Mark thanked her and left, pushing the door open to the cold world again. They walked for a long time until Mark's workshop came into view, a small garage built into the side of an old refueling station. It looked like a broken metal box with a sign that barely worked. Hawley Repairs. Cheap. No guarantees. He unlocked the door and let Leary enter first. The inside smelled like old oil and burnt wires. Machines sat in pieces on workbenches. Tools hung on nails like tired soldiers. Against the far wall stood a broken vending machine that Mark used as a table. "This is where I work," Mark said. "It's not much." Leary stepped forward slowly, eyes wide with curiosity. She touched a wrench, a bolt, a glowing fuse. Everything was new to her. How do humans make so much? She whispered, "So many things, so many tools." Do humans build their strength from metal? Mark thought about it. "Sometimes," he said. "Sometimes we build it from each other." Leary explored quietly, then froze. She had found a photo. On a dusty shelf, it showed Mark standing with a little girl, human, laughing under sunlight. The girl had bright eyes, hopeful eyes, like Leary's. "Who is she?" Leary asked gently. Mark did not answer at first. His hands shook. He looked away. "My daughter," he finally said. "Her name was Emily. She's gone." Leary held the photo carefully, like it was made of light. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Mark took the photo back and placed it on the shelf. He cleared his throat and changed the subject. "You can sleep here tonight. That cot in the corner. I'll stay awake and make sure no one finds us." Leary sat on the cot, pulling a blanket over her small body. "Mark," she said softly, "I didn't know coins can't buy family. I only knew that on my planet, coins can buy anything." Mark sat across from her. "On my world, the best things can't be bought." Leary blinked. "Then how do humans get them?" Mark looked at the photo again. "You fight for them," he said. "You choose them, and you don't stop. Even when it hurts." Silence filled the workshop like a warm blanket. Outside, thunder rolled. I held her coins to her chest. "Then maybe we can fight too," she whispered. Mark didn't know if he was ready. He didn't know if he deserved another chance, but when he looked at Leary, scared, brave, hopeful, he felt something dangerous. Hope. Footsteps suddenly echoed outside. Slow, heavy, purposeful. Stood up instantly. Eyes sharp. Someone was here. Leary sat up, heart racing. "Is it them?" she asked. Mark reached for a tool, the closest thing he had to a weapon. "I don't know," he said. "But stay behind me." The footsteps stopped just outside the door. Then a knock. 3 slow knocks. Mark's hand tightened on the wrench. "Mark." "Halle," a voice called through the metal. "We need to talk. It's about the child." Leary's coins rattled. Mark took a breath. The fight had found them. The wrench felt heavy in Mark's hand as he stared at the workshop door. 3 slow knocks echoed again, like someone tapping directly on his nerves. Knock, knock. "Mark." "Halle," the voice repeated. It sounded tired, not threatening. Not like Rogan, but tired could still be dangerous. Mark moved Leary behind a shelf of tools where she could hide. "Stay quiet," he whispered. She nodded, clutching her coins tight, her breath shaking. Mark approached the door cautiously and opened it just an inch. A face appeared in the gap, human, older, with deep scars across the cheeks, and eyes like someone who had seen too many bad years. Captain Bren, former law officer of the colony. Mark recognized him. Everyone did. Some said he quit after refusing to follow corrupt orders. Others said he was forced out. No one knew the full story. "Let me in," Bren said calmly, "before someone sees me here." Mark hesitated, but something in Bren's eyes felt honest, or at least not evil. He opened the door wider, but kept the wrench ready. Bren stepped inside, closed the door behind him, and locked it. "I know she's here," Bren said quietly. "You don't have to hide her from me." Leary slowly stepped out. She looked like a small ghost in the workshop light. Bren looked at her with no anger, only sadness. "You should not have come back to this colony," he told her gently. You are not safe here." Leary swallowed hard. "I had nowhere else to go," Mark cut in. "Enough. Someone needs to tell me what's happening." Rogan was chasing her. "Security wants her." "Why? She's just a kid." Bren nodded, walked to a dusty workbench, and placed his hands on it like he needed support. "Because she is carrying something inside her body," Bren said. "Something she does not know about." Leary stepped back, terrified. "I'm not sick, I'm not dangerous." "No," Bren said. "Not sick. Not dangerous, but valuable." He reached into his coat and pulled out a small holographic projector. With a tap, a blue image flickered in the air. A diagram of Leary's body. In her chest area glowed a tiny symbol, a memory chip, embedded deep inside. Mark's eyes widened. "Is that real?" Bren nodded. "Yes, it's called a heart shard. A data key. It holds information, secrets, from the war between her planet and the human corporation, Astrodyne. Information that could destroy powerful people. The war that killed her parents." Leary's voice cracked like glass. "My parents died because of a war? Because of humans?" Bren nodded slowly. "Astrodyne forced her people into conflict. Claimed self-defense. Lied to the galaxy. Your parents tried to escape with the heart shard. They wanted someone to take it far away. They hid it in you." Leary shook her head, tears falling now. "I didn't know. I don't want this. I just wanted a family." Mark felt his heart break. He put down the wrench and knelt beside her. "You didn't ask for any of this," he said. His voice was low, steady. "None of this is your fault," Bren continued. "Rogan knows. He works for Astrodyne. They want the heart shard back. They don't care what happens to her." Mark stood, anger burning in him. "So the security officers controlled," Bren said. "Not all, but enough. Astrodyne owns half the colony." Mark clenched his fists. His workshop suddenly felt too small, too weak to protect her. Bren looked at Mark with a heavy expression. "You helped her. That means you have a target on your back now, too." Mark laughed, but it was a humorless sound. "Story of my life." Bren reached into his coat again and placed something on the table, a small metal card, a guardian, license, temporary, just 3 days. "If you take this," Bren said, "you legally become her guardian. Astrodyne can't touch her without a court order. It won't save you forever, but it might buy you time." Mark stared at the card. His hand shook. The image of his daughter flashed in his mind. Emily, lost, gone. And now Leary, found, here. A chance to do something right. Lir. I watched him with scared eyes. "I didn't mean to ruin your life." Mark shook his head. "You didn't ruin it," he said softly. "You gave it a reason to start again." He placed his hand over the guardian license. Bren exhaled like he had been holding his breath. "But..." Then he leaned closer, whispering, "If you take her, you can't stay here. Rogan won't stop. Astrodyne won't stop. You will have to run. You will have to fight. You will have to be more than who you were." Mark looked at Leary. She looked at him. He signed the license for 3 days. She was his. No coins. No price, no purchase chosen. Bren nodded. "Then I will help you escape the colony. Meet me at Dock C in 2 hours. Bring nothing you can't carry." He unlocked the door, stepped out, and disappeared into the shadows. Silence swallowed the workshop. Leary wiped her tears. "Mark, are you scared?" Mark looked around at his small, broken workshop, the life he had built from pain and survival. "Terrified," he admitted. "But I'm still here." Leary took his hand. "Then I will be here too." Outside, thunder cracked like the sky itself was breaking. The war, whether Mark wanted it or not, had begun again. Rain fell harder, like the sky was trying to wash the colony away. Mark packed fast. His workshop looked like a battlefield. Of memories, tools, half-fixed machines, old photos. He grabbed only what mattered: a backpack, clothes for Leary, some food packets, and a small toolkit. Nothing heavy. Bren said only what they could carry. Leary stood near the workbench, holding the Guardian license. She treated it like it was made of stars. "Are we really Ling?" she asked. "Yes," Mark answered. He tried to sound brave. He failed, but he kept moving. "We don't have a choice." Leary watched him. "I don't want to cause more trouble." Mark stopped. Looked at her. "You're not trouble. The people chasing you are." Leary lowered her head. "On my planet, we were told humans are monsters." Mark froze. "And what do you think now?" he asked quietly. Leary thought for a moment. "I think humans are like storms, scary, but also full of light. Sometimes they destroy. Sometimes they save." Mark didn't know what to say. So he nodded and kept packing. They reached the workshop door. Mark checked outside. The street was quiet, too quiet. Like the world was waiting for something. "Stay close," he said. They stepped out and moved quickly through the alleys. Mark knew back routes, old tunnels, shortcuts. He had used them once to run from grief. Now he used them to run toward something. Responsibility. They turned a corner. A voice cut through the rain. "Well, running away already?" Rogan stepped out from behind a broken vehicle. His coat dripped water. His hat cast a shadow that made his smile look sharper. Mark pulled Leary behind him. His heart hammered like a warning drum. "I don't want trouble," Mark said. Rogan laughed softly. "Too late. Trouble wanted you." He pulled out a small remote and pressed a button. A glowing barrier blocked the street. Plasma energy. Humming like an angry bee swarm. "You're not leaving," Rogan said. "Not with her." Leary's breath shook. Mark held her hand. "I signed the license," Mark said. "She's my responsibility now. You can't take her without a court." "Order," Rogan clapped slowly. Mocking applause. "Yes, yes, yes, yes," Rogan clapped slowly. Guardian license. Temporary protection. Cute, but Astrodyne doesn't wait for courts. They erase problems. They erase evidence. And right now, she is evidence. Mark stood firm. "You'll have to go through me." Rogan smirked. "Gladly." He stepped forward. Mark didn't fight often anymore. His strength was rusted like old metal. But he lifted his wrench like it weighed nothing. Rogan lunged. It wasn't a long fight. More like a storm hitting a wall. Rogan swung a shock baton. Mark blocked with the wrench. Sparks exploded. Mark's arm shook from the impact. He stumbled, but didn't fall. Rogan's voice stayed calm even as he attacked. "Why are you doing this, Mark? She's not your kid. She's not your problem." Mark gritted his teeth. "That's the thing about being human. Sometimes we don't need a reason to do the right thing." Rogan's smile faded. He swung. Again. Mark dodged, barely. I watched in terror, coins in her hand like talismans. She wanted to help. She didn't know how. Rogan struck Mark's shoulder. Mark gasped, pain flashing through him, but he didn't drop the wrench. "You can't win," Rogan said. "You're old. You're broken. And she's not worth the fight." Mark's voice shook, but his eyes burned. "Every child is worth the fight." Rogan raised the baton for a final strike. A gunshot cracked the air. Not from Mark. Not from Rogan. The plasma barrier flickered and died. Rogan spun around. Captain Bren stood at the alley entrance, weapon raised, jaw tight. "This ends now," Bren said. "Stand down, Rogan." Rogan snarled. "You're a traitor. Astrodyne owns this colony." Bren stepped closer. "Then maybe it needs new owners." For a moment, no one breathed. Rogan looked at Leary. "This isn't over," he said, voice low and dangerous. "I will find you. And next time, there won't be warnings." Then he vanished into the darkness, coat swirling like smoke. Bren hurried to Mark. "You two okay?" Mark nodded, out of breath. "We will be." Bren gestured down the alley. "We need to move. Doc C is already preparing a ship. A small cargo craft, not registered, off the books." Mark lifted Leary into his arms. She felt weightless. Bren, single quotes S. Eyes softened. "You fought well." Mark shook his head. "I survived, for now." Bren placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sometimes surviving is the first victory." They started moving again, faster this time. Behind them, sirens began to rise like wolves howling. Leary spoke into Mark's ear, voice small but sure. "You are not broken." Mark felt something warm rise in his chest. "Maybe not anymore," he whispered. Ahead of them, Doc C waited. Beyond that, the galaxy. Beyond that, a chance. Not bought, not stolen, not forced. Chosen. Doc C smelled like metal, fuel, and fear. Huge cargo ships rested like sleeping beasts in the dim light. Engines hummed, robots loaded crates. Alarms echoed from far away. Somewhere behind them, Rogan and Astrodyne forces were spreading like a storm. Mark, Leary, and Bren moved fast through the shadows. They blended with workers and traders. No eye contact. No hesitation. "Keep your head down," Bren whispered. To Leary, she nodded, pulling Mark's sleeve to stay close. Mark's shoulder still ached from the fight, but he didn't slow. He couldn't. Every step carried weight. Fear, hope, responsibility. He didn't know how to be a father again, but he knew how to protect. They reached the end of the dock. A small ship sat waiting, old, scratched, but alive. A freighter. Named Starlight Warden. "Is that safe?" Mark asked. Bren shrugged. "Safe, no, but free, yes." The ramp opened with a creak. An old pilot waited inside. A gray-haired woman with a cybernetic arm. Her eyes scanned them like a scanner. "This them?" she asked Bren. He nodded. "Help them leave the system." "No questions," the pilot smirked. "Too late. I already have questions, but questions don't pay fuel. Let's go." Inside, the ship felt like a machine praying to stay alive. Panels blinked, pipes hissed. The floor vibrated under each step. Leary sat in a passenger seat. Her legs dangled. She looked so small. Mark sat beside her. Bren stood near the hatch. "You're not coming with us?" Leary asked Bren. He shook his head. "I'll hold them off. If the colony has to fall to stop Astrodyne, then so be it." Leary's eyes softened. "Thank you," Bren nodded. "Don't thank me yet. Just survive long enough to make it worth it." He handed Mark a small device, like a compass with a glowing needle. "Follow the needle. It tracks safe routes through unregistered space. It will lead you to places Astrodyne can't reach easily." Mark accepted it like a lifeline. "I don't know how to repay you." Bren met his eyes. "Save her. That's enough." For a moment, the workshop, the fight, the pain, all of it, felt like it led to this point. Then Bren was gone, disappearing down the ramp like a ghost returning to battle. The ramp closed. The engines roared. Leary grabbed Mark's hand. "Are we really leaving?" "Yes," Mark said. His voice shook, but his grip did not. "We're going where they can't hurt you." Leary looked at the Guardian license again. 3 days. She whispered. "Only 3. Mark inhaled. His heart felt loud in his chest. "We will use those 3 days to make a start," he said. "A start is all anyone ever gets." The ship lifted off. Outside the windows, the colony shrank. Metal. Spires, neon scars, broken streets. Mark had lived there for years, hiding from his past. Now he was leaving it behind. The void of space opened like a door. Stars stretched like silver threads. Engines screamed. The ship pushed through gravity, then broke free. Silence. Then space. Endless and terrifying and beautiful. Leary stared with wide eyes. "It is so big," she breathed. Mark followed her gaze. For the first time in a long time, his fear didn't drown him. It felt like fuel. It always was, he said. We just forget to look. Hours passed. The ship entered unregistered space. The lights dimmed to power-saving mode. The pilot slept in the cockpit. Mark and Leary sat in the cargo bay, a blanket around both of them to stay warm. I finally spoke. Why did you sign the papers? Mark took a long breath. He wasn't good with answers. He wasn't good with feelings. But she deserved honesty. I had a daughter, he said. Emily. She was bright, brave. She used to say I was her hero, even when I didn't feel like one. Leary listened, coins in her hands like tiny stars. When she died, Mark continued, I stopped being anything, I thought. Maybe I didn't deserve to be a father anymore. Leary's eyes shimmered. I'm not her, she said. I know that. I can't replace her, Mark nodded. And I'm not trying to replace her. He looked at her, really looked. But maybe we can learn together, not replacing, just new. Leary hesitated. Then, can I ask something? Yes. If you could choose, would you still choose me? Mark didn't think, didn't hesitate. Yes. Leary looked down, overwhelmed. Why? Mark placed his hand gently on hers. Because family isn't something you buy, he said. It's something you choose, every day. Her voice trembled. Even if I'm a problem? Especially then. A tiny sob escaped her. Not broken, not scared, but relieved. She leaned against him. Not as property, not as cargo, not as evidence. As a child, Mark didn't know how to be a perfect father, but he knew how to try.